Welcome to Beyond the Fame, where we uncover the lives of Hollywood legends who broke boundaries and redefined what it means to be a star. In this episode, we shine a light on two icons who not only conquered the silver screen, but also used their fame to fight for change: Audrey Hepburn and Marlon Brando. Audrey Hepburn is often remembered as the epitome of grace and elegance, a style icon whose performances in films like Breakfast at Tiffany's and Roman Holiday left an indelible mark on Hollywood. Audrey Hepburn was not just a beloved actress of the golden age of Hollywood. She was also a compassionate soul with a deep-seated desire to make a difference in the world. After achieving international stardom, Hepburn could have easily rested on her laurels, but instead, she chose to use her fame as a platform for change. Her decision to dedicate her later years to humanitarian work with UNICEF wasn't just a career shift. It was the culmination of a life shaped by empathy and compassion. Audrey Hepburn's commitment to helping others was born from her own childhood experiences during World War II. Growing up in the Netherlands under Nazi occupation, she faced the horrors of war, including food shortages, violence, and fear for her loved ones. Hepburn witnessed firsthand the devastation that conflict brings to families, especially children. This period of suffering left an indelible mark on her, and she often spoke of the hunger she endured and the pain of seeing friends and neighbors disappear. These formative experiences shaped her compassion for those affected by war and hardship, fueling her desire to work with UNICEF decades later. Hepburn understood the struggles of children living in conflict zones because she had been one of them, and this personal connection made her advocacy deeply authentic. In 1988, Audrey Hepburn was appointed as a Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF, a role that she approached with the same dedication and grace that she brought to her acting career. Unlike many celebrities who lent their names to causes, Hepburn was hands-on in her approach, visiting some of the most impoverished and dangerous regions of the world to raise awareness and funds for the plight of children. She traveled to Ethiopia, Sudan, Somalia, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, among other countries, witnessing the effects of famine, war, and disease. During her missions, Hepburn didn't merely observe, she interacted directly with the people, particularly children, listening to their stories and advocating for their needs. Her presence in these regions brought not just global attention, but also hope to those who felt forgotten. Hepburn used her celebrity status to garner media coverage, urging world leaders and the public to pay attention to the crises affecting children worldwide. Audrey Hepburn's humanitarian work set a new standard for how celebrities could use their influence for good. She demonstrated that fame and philanthropy could go hand in hand, inspiring future generations of Hollywood stars to take on advocacy roles. Actresses like Angelina Jolie, Emma Watson, and Natalie Portman have followed in Hepburn's footsteps, using their platforms to support causes they believe in, from refugee rights to gender equality. Hepburn's legacy also contributed to changing the way the world viewed the role of celebrities in humanitarian work. She showed that genuine commitment and activism could be more impactful than just writing a check. By immersing herself in the causes she cared about, she set an example that true philanthropy is about connection, understanding, and a willingness to act. Audrey Hepburn's dedication to UNICEF continued until her death in 1993. Even in her final days, as she battled cancer, she remained steadfast in her commitment to improving the lives of children around the world. For her tireless efforts, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1992, one of the highest civilian honors in the United States, recognizing her outstanding contributions to humanity. Her legacy is still felt today, not only through the continued work of UNICEF, but also through the Audrey Hepburn Children's Fund, established by her family in her honor. The fund continues to support educational projects and humanitarian initiatives that were close to Hepburn's heart, ensuring that her spirit of compassion lives on. Audrey Hepburn wasn't alone in her quest to make a difference. Stars like Elizabeth Taylor and Angelina Jolie also used their platforms to advocate for change, proving that the spirit of humanitarianism can be just as powerful as any role on screen. Marlon Brando was not just an actor. He was a revolutionary force in Hollywood, challenging norms both on and off the screen. Known for his iconic roles in films like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather, Brando's legacy is also deeply intertwined with his commitment to social activism. He wasn't afraid to use his fame to speak out against injustice and fight for causes he believed in. Marlon Brando's defiance at the 1973 Academy Awards remains one of the most significant acts of protest in Hollywood history. Known for his commitment to social justice, Brando used his platform to confront Hollywood's long-standing tradition of stereotyping and misrepresenting Native Americans in film and television. This act wasn't just a fleeting moment of defiance. It was a calculated move that underscored his dedication to fighting for marginalized communities. Brando's activism for Native American rights was deeply rooted in his frustration with how indigenous people were depicted in Hollywood. Throughout the 20th century, Native Americans were often portrayed in films as either brutal savages or as romanticized, one-dimensional figures, reinforcing harmful stereotypes. This portrayal contributed to the cultural erasure and marginalization of Native American communities. Brando, who was passionate about justice and equality, felt compelled to use his influence to highlight these injustices. In the years leading up to the 1973 Oscars, Brando became increasingly vocal about his dissatisfaction with the film industry's treatment of Native Americans. He was inspired by the activism of the time, particularly the American Indian Movement, AIM, which sought to address systemic issues faced by Native Americans, including poverty, discrimination, and the lack of representation in the media. Brando believed that by leveraging his fame, he could draw more attention to these causes and advocate for change. When Marlon Brando was announced as the winner of the Best Actor Oscar for his legendary performance in The Godfather, he shocked the world by refusing to accept the award. In his place, he sent Sachin Littlefeather, a Native American activist and actress, to deliver a speech at the ceremony. Dressed in traditional Apache attire, Littlefeather took to the stage and calmly informed the audience that Brando could not accept the Oscar due to the film industry's mistreatment and misrepresentation of Native Americans. Her brief but powerful speech was met with a mix of boos, applause, and stunned silence from the audience. Littlefeather explained that Brando's decision was not only about Hollywood's portrayal of indigenous people, but also a response to the violent and tragic events happening at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, where AIM activists were engaged in a standoff with federal authorities. This context added a layer of urgency to Brando's protest, as it brought attention to the real-life struggles facing Native American communities beyond the screen. Brando's stand against stereotypes was a bold and controversial move that sparked intense reactions from the public and the entertainment industry. While some applauded his courage to speak out against injustice, others criticized him for politicizing the Oscars, accusing him of turning the event into a platform for his own agenda. Sachin Littlefeather herself faced backlash and hostility, with some members of the audience responding disrespectfully to her speech, and with certain individuals in Hollywood blacklisting her for her involvement in the protest. Despite the backlash, Brando's action succeeded in bringing the conversation about Native American rights to a global stage. The event became a catalyst for discussions about representation in the media and the treatment of indigenous people in America. It was a moment that transcended the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, highlighting the industry's role in perpetuating racial stereotypes and the need for more accurate and respectful portrayals of minority groups. Marlon Brando's protest at the Oscars had a lasting impact on the entertainment industry and the broader fight for indigenous rights. Although change was slow to come, his actions helped pave the way for future generations of filmmakers and actors to challenge the industry's norms. Brando's stance inspired other artists to use their platforms for advocacy, encouraging a new wave of socially conscious storytelling that sought to include diverse voices and perspectives. Over the years, Native American representation in film and television has gradually improved, thanks in part to the groundwork laid by Brando and activists like Sachin Littlefeather. Films and TV series that portray Native Americans in a more accurate, respectful, and nuanced light have emerged, contributing to a broader cultural understanding of indigenous cultures and their histories. Directors like Taika Waititi and projects like Reservation Dogs and Smoke Signals have helped redefine indigenous storytelling, presenting narratives that resonate with authenticity and complexity. Marlon Brando's activism was not limited to Native American rights. His passion for social justice extended to various causes, including the civil rights movement and opposition to the Vietnam War. His involvement in these movements was indicative of a broader trend among Hollywood stars using their fame for activism, a trend that has continued to evolve over the decades. Today, many actors and filmmakers follow in Brando's footsteps, advocating for issues ranging from racial equality and LGBTQ+ rights to environmental protection and refugee support. Brando's bold decision to turn the spotlight onto social issues at the height of his career transformed the way people thought about the power of celebrity. It showed that the film industry could be a platform not just for entertainment, but also for meaningful discourse and positive change. This legacy of activism has become an integral part of Hollywood's identity, with countless artists today continuing the fight for justice and equality on both the silver screen and in the real world. Marlon Brando's refusal to accept the Oscar in 1973 was more than just a moment of rebellion. It was a defining statement in his lifelong commitment to social justice. His stand against the misrepresentation of Native Americans was a call to action that challenged Hollywood to do better. By using his fame to spotlight an issue that was often ignored, Brando helped shift the narrative and inspired others in the industry to use their influence for change. Brando's actions remind us that true power in Hollywood doesn't just come from winning awards or breaking box office records. It also comes from standing up for what's right. His legacy lives on through the increasing diversity and representation in today's films, and through the continued activism of artists who believe that cinema has the power to transform society for the better. Brando's activism paved the way for future generations of stars to use their influence for social change. From Jane Fonda's anti-war protests to Leonardo DiCaprio's environmental advocacy, Hollywood continues to be a stage not just for entertainment, but for activism that drives global conversations. Both Audrey Hepburn and Marlon Brando showed the world that true icons are not defined solely by their on-screen performances. They are defined by their courage to stand up for what is right, their willingness to break away from the Hollywood mold, and their ability to inspire change. Their legacies remind us that stardom is not just about fame. It's about using that fame to make a difference in the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's most iconic rebels, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Beyond the Fame. Let us know in the comments which other stars you think broke the Hollywood mold and left a lasting impact on the world. Stay tuned for more untold stories and hidden truths from the golden age of Hollywood. Thanks for watching in this video.